Hello. May I firstly introduce myself? My name is Supalak Nakhornsri. I'm from King Mongkut University of Technology North Bangkok in Thailand. You can see my contact detail supalak.n@arts.kmtnb.ac.th. Today I would like to present my research paper entitled The Challenges of Establishing Performance Indicators for Academic English Proficiency, a case for EFL university students. I'm going to present my paper according to the following outline. So I'm going to start with the background, research questions, research methodology, and lastly, findings. Okay, let's get started with the background. Global changes allow university to have significant role in securing the future labor force by fostering knowledge, analytical thinking, broad capability, and technical skills on the part of students. Once we talk about language proficiency, it is considered a key for academic and occupational success. So, universities are required to prepare their students or their graduates with this English proficiency. On top of that, in Thailand, the Office of the Basic Education Commission has applied the concept of the Common European Framework, and we know as CEFR. Level B1 was specified as the goal of English proficiency for high school or vocational certificate graduates. So from the background, there are 4 research questions. The first one, what is the target language use domain? From now on, I'm going to call it as TLU. The TLU of Academic English Proficiency for EFL university students. 2, was it the quality of the developed test? 3, was it the concurrent validity value? And last one, what are the ability bands for describing the English levels? Okay, here we come. I'm going to talk about research methodology. Regarding research procedures, there are 4 phases in this study. Phase 1, establishing TLU domain. From this phase, the main instrument used is the questionnaire asking about the TLU domain for academic English proficiency of EFL students. And the main sample in this study included 39 informants who were English teachers, current students, and instructors of other faculties. Phase 2. Phase 2 is creating the academic English test. Of course, the main instrument is the test specification. Once we have created test specification, then the test item could be written. And 30 test takers were included in the pilot study. Phase 3, developing the ability bands. Well, after the test has been created, the ability band was established by considering the test specifications once again. The test specification includes the concept and ability descriptor from CFR, TLU domain, and IELTS. 3 experts were asked to validate the content. And last one, phase 3, examining concurrent validity. In this case, the created academic English test and IELTS. The IELTS was taken from the IELTS preparation textbook for use, and 30 test takers were included in the main study. I'd like to explain briefly about theoretical framework. For phase 1, in order to create the main instrument, the questionnaire, the content of the questionnaire comes from information from interviewing English instructors of other subjects, undergraduate and postgraduate students regarding academic language. The focus of the interviews are about the purposes of academic listening, reading, and writing. Altogether, the language tests specified in the CFR also included. Once information from interviews and the language test from CFR has been reviewed, then they were used to design the content of the questionnaire. Phase 2, creating the academic English test. There are many information used to design the test, like the finding from questionnaire on TLU domain. And then the TLU domain were modified to make it fit with the test, the ability descriptor of CFR, and lastly, the equivalence score of CFR and IELTS. Next, phase 3, developing the ability band. So CFR and the TLU domain and IELTS were used to help establish the ability bands to describe English ability. And last one, examining concurrent validity. The literature relevant to concurrent validity have been reviewed, and to summarize, the concept of concurrent validity is to measure or to prove how a test effectively estimates and examines performance on certain outcome measures. Okay, I'm going to move to data analysis. So these are the statistical process. For phase 1, once we would like to establish the TLU domain. So the statistics used were mean and standard deviation. For phase 2, to create the test, right? The quality of the test has to be examined. So test validity, reliability, and item analysis were implemented. Next, for developing the ability bands, the equivalence score and the descriptor of IELTS and CFR were used. And last one, in order to examine concurrent validity, the two sets of the score, the score from the developed test and the IELTS test, were used to analyze by means of Pearson product moment. And for prediction, regression analysis was also examined. Okay, this is the finding of research question number 1. What is the TLU domain of academic English proficiency? It shows from here that regarding listening purposes, the purposes rated as a very high level or always are 1. To understand the lecture or the lesson in the classroom. 2. To understand the interlocutor speech for communication purpose. Number 4, to collect information or data. And number 5, to understand information from visual representation, such as a diagram. Once we talk about the reading purposes, there's only one purpose was rated at very high level. That's it, to understand the content from the textbook in the classroom. And last one, writing purposes. Only one purpose was rated as very high, is to fill out a form, for example, an application form. Okay, well, once we have got the finding from the questionnaire, we make use of the finding to design the test specification. Because there are a lot of information, a lot of detail, so I show only the summary of the test task and from the test specification. You could see from here that from the skill, it includes 3 skills: academic listening, reading, and writing, respectively. And the second column shows task characteristic. So the finding from the TLU domains are mainly used to design the task characteristic. And next, number of item underscore. The number of item underscore came from the consideration of the content expert. Okay, and this is the finding for research question number 2, the quality of the developed test. Let's start by considering the test reliability because the test type used in this test is open-ended. So that's why we use the rubric, marking rubric, and two raters are required to mark or to assign student score. So that's why in terms of reliability, intra-rater reliability was examined. So from the data below, it showed that every part of the test, listening, reading, and writing, has very high intra-rater reliability. And when considering item analysis, difficulty levels, okay, from here, normally acceptable range for difficulty level should be between 0.2 to 0.8. And it shows from here that the ranges from all the parts of the test fall in the acceptable range. Last one, discrimination index. Acceptable value should be higher than 0.2, and from here, all the ranges show that every item has acceptable value of discrimination index. So totally, it can be summarized that the developed test has acceptable quality. Next, when we talk about the concurrent validity or the analysis of correlation between the score from the developed test and the IELTS, it shows from here that the first pair, academic listening and IELTS listening, it has 0.59. That means it has moderate level of correlation. And the next pair, reading and IELTS reading, 0.65. This also considered as moderate correlation. And last one, academic writing and IELTS writing. This the correlation coefficient is quite high at 0.86. So that means they have high correlation. So overall, it can be said that the concurrent validity value between the developed test and the IELTS has is at moderate to high level. Okay, so this is the finding for research question number 4. What are the ability bands for describing English level? Because there's a lot of details, lots of information in the ability bands, so I would like to show just only a sample of ability bands. It includes the main 3 columns as the first one. The score from the developed test. So from here, it starts from 13 to 18 items. So that means if student could make 13 to 18 items, their score could be equivalent to CFR level B1 or IELTS bands 4 to 5. And the last column show the ability descriptor. It also includes types of content, the task type, and ability. So that can explain what student can do in this level. That's all about my presentation. For more information, you can read it from my research article. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.